So I've just finished a busy week of treating people with sciatica and helping them get better. So what value can I give you right now that's going to help you to improve your sciatic symptoms or even get rid of them? If you're one of those people who is searching YouTube for the magic exercise that's going to help you get better, that one exercise that if you do it is going to relieve your symptoms and they're going to be gone forever, then I'm not your man. This isn't the right place for you, because this is about doing the right things at the right time. Now, it might be that if you are lucky, you find an exercise which is the correct exercise for your particular version of sciatica, and that helps you. But there's every other chance that you can do things which can make your situation worse. Remember, sciatica is an umbrella term. It's not one particular cause, it's multiple potential causes, which are sometimes even interacting together, that can cause sciatic symptoms. So then how can one exercise be the answer? Now, if you want to choose the right exercise for your particular version of sciatica, you need to understand a fundamental principle that will give you a much better chance of choosing an exercise which is going to help to relieve symptoms rather than increase them. Now remember, whenever we do an exercise, we're most interested in whether the leg symptoms are any better or worse. If we're doing an exercise which is improving the leg symptoms, then that is theoretically likely to be a good exercise for us. But if we're doing an exercise which the reverse is true and we are making our leg pain worse, then that's probably not a great exercise to be doing. The secret for sciatica is to understand what your directional bias is. Now, directional bias refers to a certain direction that increases symptoms, and usually the opposite direction will help to relieve symptoms. Now, I can give you an example based on today's clinical practice that I saw, where I had two individuals, both with sciatica. Now, individual one came in, and every time she sat, every time she bent forward or bent over to lift her little granddaughter, the symptoms would get worse. So even in the clinical setting, when I asked her to bend forwards at the waist, she would feel the symptoms in her leg. Now, if I asked her to lean backwards, there would be a little bit of discomfort in the lower back, but not the symptoms in the leg. So this meant that she had a directional bias that meant that going anything in terms of what we call flexion, bending forwards, was an aggravating factor. So in order to exercise, we're starting to move back into what we call extension, which was going away from that. So standing nice and upright, leaning backwards at the waist, and doing everything in a direction away from her painful direction, so the opposite direction. Conversely, another gentleman with sciatic symptoms down his leg came in, and everything he did that was upright, walking or leaning backwards at the waist, would increase his leg symptoms. But when he sat or when he bent forwards, it would relieve. And those are the very things that he would do. He would walk along and find a bench when the symptoms would increase, sit down, relieve the symptoms off, stretch down forwards, and the symptoms would diminish, and he would feel better until he then did too much walking again. So here we have two individuals, both with sciatica, and they're opposite in terms of the movements that cause the pain to increase in the leg. And we're actually doing exercises completely opposite directions of movement for these two people. This is a really good demonstration of the fact if you can understand your directional bias, the direction of movement that increases your leg symptoms, you need to start off with exercising in the opposite direction. And that's a real good secret golden rule for improving symptoms with sciatica.